Now, WLOX presents the Friday Night Football Showdown Halftime Update.
Proudly sponsored by Champion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Oak Trust Insurance Group.
Hello everybody, thanks again for joining us. I am your host Dylan Jones and this is the Friday Night Football Showdown Halftime Update, and we have high school football action coming to you from across the Gulf Coast, and WLOX is bringing highlights to you from every single one of those games. You make sure to head on over to our website over at WLOX.com. You can also check out our mobile app on the App Store, Apple, Samsung, Android, BlackBerry. Do BlackBerry have apps? I don't know. They probably do. We're probably on there too. But you can make sure to head on over to WLOX.com. Navigate your way to the hamburger menu. You'll be able to find the sports tab on the mobile app. I believe there is actually a tab that says high school sports, so you can check that out instead. But if you are on the computer, make sure to head on over to sports, and you can head your way over to the scoreboard. Make sure to check high school football there, and you'll have all the latest scores. But before we get into that, let's set the scene. Our top 10 coast rankings coming into week 2. Number 1, Ocean Springs Picayune at number 2, Pascagoula 3, Gulfport 4, West Harrison at 5, Gaucher at 6. 7 is Poplarville, 8, D'Iberville, number 9, Stone, and number 10, Pass Christian. So a lot of good teams and a lot of people probably wondering who even puts these rankings together. I saw a lot of Instagram comments that were not very nice, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you. But also, before we get to this next page, Greene County and St. Martin receiving votes as well. These are all the people that are working to put these rankings together. These are all the minds that were coming together. As you see, we pick these games each and every week. Matt DiGregorio, Nigel Whittington, Dylan Jones, myself, Cody Heister, Blake Brannon, shout out Blake Brannon, Tyler Bell, and Will Polston. As you can see there, 11-4 under my name. Not to toot my own horn, but I did pretty good. St. Martin, if there are any St. Martin fans, I just want you to know I was the only one that was standing with you, okay? So I'm a believer in you guys. WLOX's game of the week, Poplarville and Stone take each other on in Perkinston at A.L. May Memorial Stadium. So, pretty passionate game, always very good football. Last win for Stone against Poplarville coming into the 4A playoffs of round 3 in 2022. Tyler Bell gives you a preview.
And now shifting our attention to the high school game. This week's WLX Game of the Week takes us to Stone County for a top 10 matchup between Poplarville and Stone. Tyler Bell previews the matchup between the Hornets and Tomcats.
These two teams come into this weekend after opposite results in week 1. The Tomcats have the wind in their sails after a 20-point road win, while the Hornets are looking to bounce back after dropping their home opener.
That we had to ignore that.
You know, it sucks anytime you lose. We were very disappointed, you know, and then going back and watching the film, you know, even after watching the film, we was even more embarrassed with our performance. So we're just going to work this week as hard as we possibly can to fix the things we messed up on. You know, I thought we played slow and timid at times, and we can't be like that.
Well, something that we were excited about coming out of Hancock was we played 23 guys on defense, so we think that that's going to help us moving forward. We're trying to create depth early. We'll try to do that again this week moving forward. That way when you get to district, we'll have a lot of guys that can step in and play a part.
Before his time at Stone, Coach Aycock was the defensive coordinator at Poplarville for 3 years. There's no bad blood in this matchup, but it is going to be a chess match.
We went to a state championship and a South State championship when he was on the staff. Got a really great friend. I know he's a very smart coach. He's going to have a great plan. We got to be ready for whatever he throws at us.
You know, they're still my friends. So anytime we play against them, you know, they know how we're going to line up. They know what we're going to do. And I feel like I have a pretty good idea of how they're going to line up and the things that they're going to do. So it's really about the kids, you know, who can get their guys to play harder and play harder longer.
Both teams are working with a power-packed ground game. The Hornets will be relying heavily on 4-star running back Ty Keys, whose production was on the lower end last week. On the other side, the Tomcats are hoping for another big performance from sophomore Aiden Green, who broke out for over 270 yards and 3 touchdowns on just 15 carries.
You know, we're going to find number 5. You know, they'll split him out wide. They'll play him at running back. They'll snap it to him at quarterback. So, you know, every play we're going to look around and try to find where he is. And, you know, we're going to keep eyes on him, but then also be aware of their other targets.
Hopefully we play really, really hard, and I expect a really tight, close game. We're hoping we can, you know, win a close one there at the end.
So taking a quick look at that game as we can scroll down here. First of all, let's make sure that we refresh the scores because I don't want to be lying to you now. Let me make sure to click high school football, scroll on down. Poplarville trailing Stone 21-7 at halftime. Those two usually put on a great show. I imagine that one will come down to the wire there in the end. But we go back up. First, we follow the number 2 Picayune Maroon Tide out to Louisiana, where they visit the North Shore Panthers in Slidell. The Tide snuck away with a win last week in Gulfport following a key turnover inside the final seconds of the game. These two saw each other last year. The Tide coming away with a shutout 35-0 victory at home. They have 19 straight regular season wins on the road right now, looking to repeat history in the second quarter. Picayune up 27-0. Last week, the PRC Blue Devils picked up their first opening week win since 2020, and now they'll also hit the road to head to Slidell to face the Pope John Paul Jaguars. A second win would set PRC up with a chance to earn 3 back-to-back wins for the first time since 2015. And right now, looking good at halftime, 14-7, Blue Devils lead it. Back in Mississippi, the Long Beach Bearcats were sent home licking their wounds after a 49-14 thrashing at the hands of Pass Christian. They look to recover tonight against the Forest County Agricultural Aggies. Say that twice as fast, my goodness. They're fresh off of a blowout victory of their own against St. Stanislaus. When they met last year, the Aggies came away with a 21-9 win in Week 2. However, FCA currently up 21-0 at halftime. Long Beach, maybe they can get something going here in the second half. We'll see. Meanwhile, in George County, the Rebels have yet to score their first points of the season after being contained by the number 6 Gaucher Gators. They hope to rebound tonight versus the South Jones Braves, who pulled out a big win over their rival Northeast Jones to start their season last Friday. Right now at halftime, not looking so good for the Rebels. 21-0, they're trailing. Got to get back up on the horse to start that third quarter. So, as we mentioned, Poplarville, Stone at halftime. Stone's looking good. 21-7, they sit in the driver's seat. Now we head to Richland, where the Van Cleve Bulldogs visit the Rangers. Van Cleve entered the season on the cusp of cracking the top 10, but after a brutal 21-64 loss handed to them by St. Martin, they look to get back on their horses this week. This is the first time these two programs have ever met. Right now at halftime, neck and neck so far. Van Cleve, Richland tied at 13. Entering Week 2, the Pass Christian Pirates remain at number 10 in our rankings. They visit the Purvis Tornadoes, a team tackling its first season in 5A. As we mentioned, the Pirates scored a huge win over Long Beach last week. They hope to gain that momentum, keep it going tonight, and they are looking good right now. Halftime, they lead it 34-7. In Moss Point, the Tigers couldn't manage to score against the number 3 Pascagoula last week. Tonight, they clashed with the Lanier Bulldogs, who pulled out a win over 7A Harrison Central to start their season. The Tigers hope to break up a 10-game losing streak right now. It's not out of reach yet. Halftime, they're behind by just 10 points, 16-6 Bulldogs in front. So checking in on one of our newest additions, to the Friday Night Football Showdown, the Greene County Wildcats pulled out an overtime win over East Central last week and are receiving votes to crack the top 10. They travel to visit the Perry Central Bulldogs, who they've beaten 5 straight meetings since 2020, looking to make it 6. Second quarter, I know for a fact that Greene County was within the 20-yard line, I believe. Halftime starting to grow nearer. They lead it as of right now, 28-6 as halftime nears. So in Bay St. Louis, it's a battle for the crab trap. The St. Stanislaus Rockchaws pay a visit to the rival Bay Tigers with hardware on the line. Neither team looked too great in Week 1. They've each combined for just 3 points and 2 losses. However, a win tonight could provide a much-needed spark for either team. At halftime, Bay leads it by just 1 score, 14-7 over the Rockchaws. So as we can see, Sacred Heart versus St. Patrick. Don't have an update for this game yet. If you do have an update, feel free to leave a comment down below. We'll make sure to get that updated as soon as possible. But anyways, the St. Patrick Fighting Irish earned their first win in 2 years. Now they host the Sacred Heart Cruisers. I believe these two teams also met last year. Sacred Heart coming away with the win in that one. St. Patrick looking to get something going here tonight. Now we'll check in on our lone 1A team in the Resurrection Eagles as they host our second newcomer this year in the Christian Collegiate Academy Bulldogs. The Eagles started the season flat last week with a 7-35 loss in Clarkdale. The same can be said for CCA, who logged their second ever 11-man football game last week against St. Patrick, but are left searching for their first points in program history after back-to-back shutout losses. Right now, not looking too hot for them. At halftime, Resurrection leads it 47-0. Up in 7A, the St. Martin Yellow Jackets are feeling good after scoring a program record 64 points. Wow! In Van Cleve last week, they head to Hurley to face the East Central Hornets, who were playing with a chip on their shoulder after falling in OT to Greene County. Right now, second quarter, St. Martin out front 14-7 against the Hornets. After years of losing, the number 5 West Harrison Hurricanes may have something special in 2025, scoring a win over the defending 4A state champs in Poplarville to begin their season. But now they'll face the Forest Bearcats, who Poplarville beat by just 3 points in South State last year. And on top of that, the road only gets tougher for the Canes with contests against Gaucher, Laurel, St. Martin, and D'Iberville coming over the next 4 weeks. And right now at halftime, they're trailing by a decent margin. Forest out front 21-0 as they prep for that third quarter. The Ocean Springs Greyhounds sit atop this week's ratings, and for good reason. They have held the Meridian Wildcats off the scoreboard in week 1 en route to a 35-0 win. Now they'll see the Petal Panthers, who are 1 week removed from a 50-26 drumming of Hattiesburg. Contest with number 3 Pascagoula and number 2 Picayune follow for the Greyhounds in the coming weeks. Right now, they're looking good. Halftime was also very close whenever I started this digital desk, I believe. 27-7, Ocean Springs with the lead. Back over in Harrison County, the Harrison Central Red Rebels suffered an upset loss to the Lanier Bulldogs. Back at home tonight, they take on the Hancock Hawks, who enter 0-1 after falling to number 9 Stone to start their season. And as you see, no update on that one yet. If you have that score, feel free to leave a comment down below. So now we'll check in Gaucher as 2 ranked teams clash. The Gaucher Gators host the D'Iberville Warriors. The Warriors escaped a near upset against number 2 Raleigh last week, and now they'll attempt to break Gaucher's 21-game winning streak at home. And that streak is very much in danger right now. Second quarter, D'Iberville up by a decent bit. 21-3, certainly nothing you can't come back from, but Gaucher got to pick up the speed, man. Come on. Finally, we will finish off in Biloxi as the Indians clash with the number 3 Pascagoula Panthers. Biloxi slips from top 10 after a 3-point loss to Holmes County Central. A win tonight won't come easy, as the Panthers have yet to allow a score this season after a shutout win in Moss Point. And right now, Biloxi is just completely flipping the script there, looking to crack back inside that top 10. Second quarter, the Indians lead it 21-0. And real quick, before we get out of here, let me just give you a quick run through on how to get to these scores in case you missed it there at the beginning. What you're going to want to do, head over to WLOX.com or make sure to check out our mobile app and make sure to navigate your way to the sports tab. Click here on the scoreboard, and you'll also be able to get those JUCO scores as well. PRC coming away with a win last night, very close. Mississippi Gulf Coast coming away with a win, not as close. Mississippi Delta 58-7, big margin there. Anyways, it's neither here nor there. We're worried about high school football. That's what we want to see. So there it is. That's how you get to it. And also make sure to check us out later tonight at 10:15 for Friday Night Football Showdown. You get all the final scores, all of the latest highlights. If you want it, we'll have it. So make sure to check us out then. But until then, can't wait to see you later tonight. My name is Dylan Jones. Thanks for watching.